I'm unavailable. I'll call you whenever I can.
That's my homeboy. He's never home. Every time I call him, the recording comes on. I don't know what's going on, you know. I call him, recording comes on. So I'm gonna leave a message. He already know. He already knows that I called because all he has to do is look in his call log, and in his call log, he will see that I called. Not only that, he hears his phone. Okay, so let's say the reception is bad. So if the reception is bad, maybe he never got the call. You know, this is interesting because it gets me to think about things. I mean, that's my boy, you know. He don't answer the phone. That's cool with me. I'm good. Well, but brothers, how about if you were calling your girl and she's not answering? You're not going to say to yourself, well, it must be that the reception is bad. No, she hears the phone. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. She's going to hit the side button. Bing, bing. She's not going to hear it anymore because she doesn't want to talk to you. Why? There could be many reasons. Maybe she's in the bathroom. Maybe she's in a restroom. Maybe she's powdering her nose. They don't do that anymore. Maybe she putting on lipstick. Maybe she putting on her eyelid. Maybe she putting her eyelashes on. But nevertheless, she's doing something. I wonder what that is. But guess what? It's out of your control. You're not responsible for other people's behavior. The only person's behavior that you're responsible for is your behavior. However, if you have children, they are responsible for their behavior, but you're accountable for theirs. Why? Because you are given charged. You are giving charge over them. And because you're given charge over them, you're accountable for their behavior. However, they are responsible, but you're accountable. The difference between accountability and responsibility is very close, but the difference, you have to give an account for the behavior. That means you're the sole person that has to be in charge of your child's behavior. And because you're given charge, if you don't meet that charge, then it's called either neglect, being a derelict person, or not being very responsible and being accountable for your child's behavior. Let me say this. If you're a young lady and you make a phone call to your boyfriend, your significant other, and he doesn't answer, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Oh, he must be cheating. He might be. If you're married, he is. If you're not married, as if he was married and he's cheating, he's surveying the music. Getting back to the video that we talked about earlier, as far as love, no, appreciation, getting to the part where I said you either buy it or leave it on the shelf. And if you can't buy into this person's way of living, then leave it on the shelf. But don't leave that person on for a number of years. Where you come to a certain point and start becoming very picky and finding things that you feel is something that you want to be a part of. You start nitpicking and you start becoming petty and you start finding things that are wrong. Actually, what it is, you don't want to be there any longer. For what reason? Because you think you may find better, or there may be some mental illness involved. And that isn't funny, because you have a lot of situations where there are people that are together and they leave each other because of mental illness. It could be on the gentleman's behalf, it could be on the lady's behalf, or both. But nevertheless, if you have a mental illness and you tell someone about it, and that person reacts to you as if you're okay and you don't need to take your medication, don't listen to that person, because you know you're supposed to be taking your medication. The reason why that person may have said that is because if this is directed from a woman to a man, in terms of the woman being mentally ill and the man not knowing how to handle it and thinking that because you look a certain way, you're normal. He doesn't know. And he doesn't know any better because he's not knowledgeable of mental illness. And you have to talk to him about that. But if you say, okay, well, you said that it's all right, you're not going to get any better. You're going to get worse. And it's not going to be good for neither one of you. Honesty is the best policy. It's good to be honest. That way you don't have to keep looking over your back. You don't have to continue making up lies. You can be honest. You don't have to try to remember something that's not true. When you know the truth, you don't have to think about it. You just say it right away. You say it right away. You don't delay in talking to the person concerning what the person just asked you. You have to think about what you're about to say in a delay to answer, because you have to think of the untruth that you told before so that you can tell it again. That way you can be consistent. That isn't good. But let's get back to responsibility. I find, and this is in my opinion, from my experience, I find people that are younger than I am. I'm a baby boomer. So people that are younger than I am are people that are in Generation X, people that are millennials, the Zoomers that are in Generation Z, and the Alpha generation. But we know the Y generation are the millennials. So you got X, Y, Z, and Alpha. But the baby boomers, I can't say are the oldest, but they are the generation that are in their late 50s on up, until you get to the silent generation. Then any older than the silent generation, then you're dealing with the greatest generation. And then if they are still living, is the forgotten generation. But getting back to responsibility, I find that people aren't really sure of responsibility. For example, if you're driving down the street, right? And a person walks out in the street and you hit that person with your car, with your vehicle, with your automobile. Who's responsible for hitting that person? Would you say the person that walked out in the street is responsible for getting hit? Or would you say the person that did the hitting was responsible? What would you say? Well, let me tell you. The person that did the hitting is responsible, because as a driver, you are responsible for controlling your vehicle at all times. Now, let's say the same vehicle hit this person. The person that was behind the wheel was behind the wheel. But come to find out, the brakes gave out. Is that person responsible that's behind the wheel? Or do we pin the responsibility on someone else? Well, for starters, you are responsible for controlling your vehicle at all times. if you hit someone, you're at fault. Through further investigation, if it's found that you were not able to stop because your brakes went out, then there can be some responsibility pinned on or placed on the person that did the service on a vehicle. But first, you're responsible. So let's say this happens. We'll go to another scenario. Let's say you're in your vehicle. Better yet, let's say you're not in your vehicle. You left someone in your vehicle. The person got out of your vehicle. And when the person got out of your vehicle, you were nowhere around at the time. But when that person got out of your vehicle, when the person opened up the door, the person hit someone else's vehicle. When the person hit that other person's vehicle, the person that was in the other vehicle became upset. The person that opened up the door and hit the vehicle said, "It's not my fault. You were too close to the vehicle that I was getting out of." So now the person that was in your vehicle or my vehicle, and I was nowhere around, is pinning the blame on the person that was in the other vehicle concerning the person that opened up the door to hit the other person's vehicle. So, in your opinion, or in your best mind, who's responsible? Was it the person that was in my vehicle or in your vehicle, and the person opened up the door and hit the other vehicle? Or was it the person's fault that parked too close, that was said by the other person that was in the vehicle, and that is why the other vehicle was hit by the door once the person opened up the door? Even though it's not your vehicle and you open up the door, for every action, there is a reaction. There's a cause and effect relationship. So understand this. The cause stands alone. The cause stands alone. Without the cause, the effect would not exist in the relationship. And this is what I'm saying. The cause is the vehicle that was hit. The effect was the door that hit the other vehicle. So you have a cause and effect relationship. So if you are doing the effecting, then you are demonstrating the behavior. So when you demonstrate the behavior, you have to be responsible for that behavior. And once that behavior is put into action, then as a result, there is another action, which is a reaction. And that's the effect. So if you affect someone, then you are responsible for that behavior. If the person that serviced my vehicle did not service my vehicle properly, and because he or she did not service my vehicle properly, I got into an accident, that is that person's fault. But first and foremost, I'm responsible. So sometimes there is blame that can be shared, or responsibility that can be shared. But always remember, people, if you want to understand responsibility, if you're affecting the situation, 9 times out of 10, you're responsible. Understand responsibility. If you throw water on the car and the water splash and it gets on another car, you don't say that's not my fault, because you're responsible. I've heard people say, well, it's not my fault, it splashed on your car. I was throwing it on the other car. Well, common sense will tell you, if you throw water on a car in a bucket like this, it's going to splash. And when it splashes, that means it's going to scatter. The water particles are going to scatter and go different places and will lay where it may. And you're responsible because you affected the water in the bucket by throwing it out in the bucket. And when you threw it out in the bucket, it hit a car. And then once it hit the car, it splashed. And once it splashed, the particles laid where they may. And you initiated that. So you are responsible. And further on, I understand as a result, it splattered on someone else's vehicle, into someone else's car. The person lost control of the vehicle and went into another car. Understand responsibility. You can't blame something on someone that did not demonstrate the behavior or affect the situation. Know what the cause is and know what the effect is. The effect. Know what the cause is and know what the effect is. Always remember, the cause stands alone. Without the cause, the effect does not exist. The cause is what stands alone. So I'm trying to give you a great example. The phone is ringing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, bing, bing. Bing, 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 bing. Well, you know how it goes with T-Mobile. It goes Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. All right, so that's the phone, right? That's the cause. You know what the effect is? Bam. Hello? Wrong number. Guess what? The cause stands alone. I effect the phone by picking it up. If the phone wasn't there, I wouldn't have been able to pick it up. I'm responsible for answering this phone. Nobody else answered it. I answered it. Had I not answered it, bing, 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 bing. 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 I shut it off. So you have a cause and effect relationship. The cause stands alone. The effect doesn't exist in the scenario unless the cause is present. Responsibility. As grown-ups, we have to learn to take responsibility for our own actions, not only of the actions of our children and the people that we're given charge over, but we have to take responsibility for our own selves, for our own selves. We have to take responsibility for that. Responsibility is very important. With morals, values, principles, and standards, your children are looking at you. Teach your children the right way. Don't allow your child to go into the grocery store and shoplift, and when the security guard says something to your child, because the security guard is a black person and you're black as well, say, brother, what are you doing? Why are you trying to get my child in trouble? They can afford it. What you worried about it for? That's not right. And you're teaching your child to be something that you really don't want your child to be. And that's dishonest. Listen. I'm a father. I'm an uncle. I'm looking forward to becoming a grandfather. I'm a cousin. I'm a nephew. I'm a man. That's what I am. And I give you whatever I can, be it early morning or in the afternoon or at midnight. It's never too soon. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum, bum. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Oh my goodness, yeah, I'm mentally ill. Yeah, I am. But I'm mentally ill in a good way, you know. Things that go in my mind, I allow them to come out. It's a good thing that these kinds of things that go in my mind aren't nasty or bad things. And if they are, you never know. You'll never find bum 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 a ill thought in my mind. Boom boom boom. You keep searching and searching. The lobotomy process won't go through. Oh boy. Well, look, I hope you understand what responsibility is. But until then, I want you to take care. I want you to look out for one another. Don't swear. Be nice to one another. And with that being said, may God bless you. May the good Lord keep you. And may heaven smile